Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Gaming Game Reviews. In this episode, we're going to talk about Shin Megami Tensei V. All right, Shin Megami Tensei V is developed by Atlus. It was published in North America by Sega. In Japan, it was published by Atlus, and in the PAL version areas, it was published by Nintendo. It came out worldwide on November 12th, 2021, and it is currently only on the Switch. It is a single-player role-playing game, and the fifth in the Shin Megami series. So if you're used to or have played Shin Megami before, then I would suspect this is kind of what you're used to as far as gameplay and kind of how things work. If you're new to it, well, listen and you'll kind of find out what this game's about. So yeah, let's go around and see what everybody thought of Shin Megami. Shane, how about we start with you? What do you think of Shin Megami Tensei V?
Well, let's first start off by saying thank you, Best Buy, for cornholing me and Pat here on our games. Pat's took, a week to get to him?
Mine was GameStop, though, not Best Buy.
Or, sorry, GameStop. Mine was GameStop as well.
Sorry, Best Buy.
And the one I got, sorry, Best Buy. Hooked me up. The copy I bought was damaged, and the game is sold out everywhere, apparently. So they said they'd get me a new copy. They didn't get a new copy, so I ended up buying digital. I hate digital on Nintendo Switch, by the way. So I'm starting off with a shitty mood and a short time frame to play it. So the game itself is it's JRPG. It's For me, it's overcomplicated. I have a hard time with this game. I am still on the first boss. I'm not going to lie. I have not had a great deal of time to play it because I wasn't able to get it like I wanted. And by the time I finally got tired and bought it digitally, that's on me. I don't really care for the game. I don't care for the combat system. I like the character models. That's my biggest thing I do like about the game. Being on Switch is kind of a pain in the ass too. We were talking about a minute ago. They should have put it on PC first, or PS4 first, and then dumbed it down for the Switch. But I don't know. I'm no good with the combat system in there. I can't even think of what the one thing is called where you got to keep building it up, but I'm terrible. I don't know how to feel about the game because I suck so bad at it. That's probably on me too. I had to try to play on handheld because the Switch is in my daughter's room right now, and I'm lazy and I didn't want to bring it in here. So I've been playing handheld and on her TV, which has got a big line in it right now. So that kind of sucked. I don't know how to feel about this game. I really don't, because I don't get the combat system or the crap. The characters you unlock, or you gather up your forces. I've got an angel character, a demon, mermaid, and the Sandman, and a couple others. And I'm stuck on this octopus boss, Hydra boss, and I just cannot get the combat down. I cannot get it figured out to beat the boss. I keep dying. I knock some tentacles off, and that's it. Then I just go to hell. So I'm not a big fan of this game. I'm betting $1 these two are a hell of a lot more into it than I am, especially a certain one in here. So Pat, what about you? Hopefully you, once you got your copy finally, you're enjoying it better than me.
Yeah, mine was delayed as well. I didn't get it till about Thursday last week, so it was a mad dash rush to get in and play it and get some quality time with it. But I enjoyed it. You do have to pay a lot of attention to the tutorial, not even really tutorial, but the intro to the game, because they teach you things. It has a lot of reading, which is typical of JRPGs, right? If you want to know how to do something, they're not just going to come right out and baby step you through it or kid gloves you through it. They're basically going to give you a readout that says, hey, you want to know how to do this, you read this and then you figure it out and you play around with it, which I enjoy stuff like that. I probably spent hours in the menus looking at like demon fusions and things, how I can get my own abilities. And because, shortly into the game, I'm like, I only got like 2 abilities. How the hell do I get more abilities? And I've already leveled up like 10 levels, I'm like, I can't do anything but this lightning attack and this melee attack. And so I'm like going through there and going, oh, I missed a whole thing here where I can strip abilities off demons, sacrifice them basically and take their ability or take their essence and I'll give myself an ability, and so there's a lot to this game and I really enjoy it. At first I struggled with it. Nick forewarned me that it was going to be a very hard game. So I was like, all right, that means I need to read more instead of doing my typical run through it and try to just get far as I can. So I played methodically through the first section of it, the first area, and read everything and grabbed multiple demons so I can see what would happen if I stripped this or merged this or did this or did that. And I'm like, okay, cool. I get what's going on here. And it is very difficult until you basically fill up your party with demons, or angels, whatever you come across, or merge them into angels in the beginning, because you basically can have yourself plus, is it 4 other demons? No, it's 3 other demons. It's a 4-party purse. It's a 4-party. You count as one of the 4, and then you have like 3 other slots that you can fill out. So it's definitely really cool. And as Shane was mentioning, it's that I can't pronounce. It's like Meta Sushi Bar or whatever it is that builds up that then you could just then use to expend to do one ability or expend to give your entire team guaranteed critical for 1 full round. It's also got this cool icon system where if you do crits or you do weak damage, if you do the damage an enemy's weak to, it basically lets you run around multiple turns. So really cool stuff that I think we'll all get into as we get further. But Nick, I think this is my first Shin Megami game, and I enjoy it, even not knowing the past of the Shin Megami series. So I like it. Nick, what about you, man? What are your initial thoughts on this one?
Well, mine came the next day after it released, so I had it pretty early. Yeah, I really like it. It's different than your typical JRPG. You just think of turn-based combat, and this has a lot of technicality in the background where, enemies have weaknesses, and you got to make sure that the party you're forming, the demons that you have magic abilities or whatever that can, counteract that. That way, you can get what you said, Patrick, about your player count or whatever, how many times you can go. That way you can increase it and you can just keep going. You can't go forever. It's basically 2 turns. You get 2 full turns with all 4 people, but you can keep that going and you've hit the enemy 8 times before they even had a chance. If the enemy misses, they lose their entire chance. It's the same thing with you. You lose 2 of those points if you miss, and same with them. So that's how that happens. You're like, yes, they missed. So, but yeah, it's a very technical game. It does have quite a bit of grinding too. Like most JRPGs, you do have to do some grinding if you want it to kind of make it a little bit more, if you want to make your journey a little bit more easier, you might want to grind out your demons and grind out your Nabino is what they call you. Grind that out. So, but it is an enjoyable and fun game. I like it. I love, when I see new demons, I'm like, oh, I want to get that demon. And that interaction of talking to the demons can be funny and weird and sometimes just like off the wall. And, and sometimes when you're talking to demons, you don't get one because you've chosen the right things or you said the wrong thing or, whatever the case may be. But, once you get them, it's like this game has, which we may, probably go into depth with, but they have a demon fusion mode where you can fuse demons together to make new demons. And so you're constantly looking at that. And that's definitely one thing I did as well, Patrick, which is like you'll spend half your time out on the field fighting demons and doing stuff like that as you will in your menu, just looking at your party, looking at the skills they have. Like, what do I want to bring into my party? Oh, this demon has a skill. Oh, do I have that essence? Because I want to strip that off of them and put them on this person. Or maybe I want to strip it off of them and put it on me. So my Nabino has that powerful electrical skill or something like that. This one has their own unique skills. So some demons do have their own unique abilities that can't be stripped or used by anybody else but them. So, and those can be really cool. The mag sushi bar thing. I don't know how you pronounce it, but that thing is, I mean, that comes super useful, especially when you're fighting bosses. When you start your turn and you know if you have their weakness on everybody, that can cast the weakness to the boss. When your character, the Nabino, the main character, your guy, starts out, cast that right away. Now for 8 hits, you have crits all the way through. And you can just cycle that through and have 8 crits in a row. So that's the perfect time to use it. And like Pat said, there's other demons that will give you other that you can use that bar for other things. Like they have ones where it'll heal your entire party or revive everybody or shield everybody for a turn or two or something, whatever. So yeah, this game is really cool. It's very technical. You got to really think about it and be, kind of slow rolling. You can't sprint. It's not a sprint to the finish line. It's a slow roll. But once you get through everything and start learning the mechanics, it becomes really fun. And the environments are pretty cool looking and stuff like that, as far as like how they're laid out and everything. There's a lot of collectibles things, well, not really collectibles, but items that you can gather in different places. Like some places are like hard to find, but there's a way to get there. So you might spend 20 minutes trying to figure out how do I get up that ledge, right? I've done it several times, but this game does have waypoints and things like that you can recall to, and all sorts of different mechanics that help you maneuver around a little bit quicker than having to walk to everything. So yeah, this is my first Shin Megami game. I've never played any of the other ones. I've known about this series for a long time, but just never played around with it. And being that this is the first one I played, I really like it. And I'm kind of sad that I missed out on playing earlier entries. But playing through this made me buy the re-release of Shin Megami Tensei 3 that the HD remake they did not too far back. So I could eventually check that one out too. But yeah, I guess from now, you guys, do you want to just kind of expand on maybe some of the other features, or what we think of the graphics as far as how the Switch looks?
Yeah.
Pat, what do you think on that?
The graphics are big. They were, I'm a huge graphics snob. The graphics were really hard for me to swallow. The gameplay won me over, but the graphics are really weird in this game. And I don't know if it's intentional or limitations of the Switch, because I've seen some we played Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch, and that looked beautiful. So I don't know if it's this game's design or maybe it's the, what was it, on Unreal Engine 4 or whatever. Maybe it's the limitations of that for these guys, but the game seemed washed out and the characters all seemed bland. I mean, the first thing I texted the group was, all these people have no eyes. When we were playing, I'm like, how do these characters have no eyes? And the only people who get eyes are basically people you interact with. Everybody else is like smooth skin over their eyes, like some Outer Limits freaking episode from back in the day where they had no eyes or something. I'm like,
because they don't matter.
I guess it was just weird to me to see all that. And I'm like, this is that. But even like the desert, man, when the wind would blow, it was like textures were weird. The desert seemed more like gold specks than desert to me. Every time I was going in there, I was thinking, oh, look at all this shiny gold, and not desert terrain. It was just over texturized and colors were weird. The demons were all kind of cool. They did a really cool design with them, especially in the turn-based combat. You got to really see the demons, but the terrain texture was really weird and stuff like that. But overall, I mean, I've seen much prettier Switch games, and I expected a little bit of a prettier game from this. The overworld looked okay. It looked like what I expect most of the game to, except for the people. It was just the what do they call it? I can forget. They call it the Neo world or whatever, where all the demons.
The Netherworld.
Netherworld. There you go. Where all the demons were, and I'm like, I'm not impressed with the Netherworlds.
Yeah, the environments have like this like hazy effect that they put into it. So everything, like, it's almost like it's plastered on the screen almost, where everything you go to, especially when you're in another world, and maybe that's to distinguish between that and Tokyo, where you're from, being that hazy look as though you're in some sort of other dimension or something like that. Maybe that's what they were going for, but it does make it look not as good as some other Switch games. Exactly. I mean, there's ones from Nintendo that look, Monster Hunter Rise, like you said, and some of the other ones we played that look really great on there. And this one is just kind of like, I can deal with it. It's fine. But I'm just like, man, I would expect this to look better.
It looked washed out. Is the only way I can put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely did something. I think they were trying for an artistic thing. Yeah, I don't know what that artistic thing was, but yeah, I noticed that too when Pat sent that message. Like, okay, so it's not just that I don't have my glasses on. This thing really is, they have no eyes. I don't know. I like the character models, though, like Nick said. No farther than what I'm in. No, I want to see what some of the later demons look like. I'm really interested in that, but I just can't. I don't know. I might just try to rush it too fast, and I missed a bunch of tips and tricks and things. And and like I said, it's on me for for probably not liking this game because I love JRPGs. I've played a million of them. I'm not probably as much as Nick, but I do love a good JRPG. So, me not liking as much as I do, especially the combat, especially just not being able to beat the damn first boss area there. It's probably my fault, but I think maybe I should restart and just go back and actually read some because I don't mind the reading, but I've got to put it on my TV. I can't play on on that handheld, especially since I use the Pro controller to play on there. So I'm hunkered down trying to. I don't know. I sat in my truck Saturday playing it while my son was doing his drum lessons and and getting his haircut and crap. So, it's on me probably for most of my issues with the game, but I do like the character models. That's probably my favorite thing about it. So I wish I could give more hype to this game. I really do, because I would really love to have a good JRPG right now. And it's sad that I haven't been able to give it the time and the love that it probably deserves. So.
Right.
But the next one I will, I promise.
So the only thing that confused me about this game, and I don't know if anybody can shed any light in it, I've played games that have phase systems, but this game has that weird moon phase system, and I just couldn't figure it out for the life of me. I haven't done time to dig into Google, but only thing I've ever noticed is that it affects, I would expect it to affect demon damage based on their affinity to the moon, right? But it doesn't seem to ever do that. Maybe it's not in the earlier game, it doesn't do that. But only thing I've ever seen it make any difference to is the conversations. Like if you're trying to talk to a demon to convince them to join your party, it kind of would change the conversation, because I would notice if the moon phase was waning, or something like that it would change the way that they interacted with me. Sometimes when you do the waning crescent moon or the waxing crescent moon, they would change their dialogue with you, like, oh, the moon's finally going down and the moon's finally up, and they're happy or they're sad. I could never figure out if it affected their damage, and maybe in the end of the game, it kind of tells you, because, it's a 4-phase moon, right? It's the, you have the new half full, then half, then gone, new moon again. So basically your waxing crescent, your waxing gibbous, your waning gibbous, and your waning crescent style. So, and I just expected more from that, and I could never grasp what was happening. And the moon phases just seemed to change based off of your movement in battles. So as you just move further through the map or battled more often, the moon would go through its phases quicker. Nick, did you ever figure out much more about the moon phases? Because that was the most confusing thing for me anyway.
I did. I didn't find anything about as far as like attacking creatures. You are correct on talking to them to recruit them. Depending, some creatures won't talk to you if there's a new moon. Some won't talk to you if there's a full moon. So, you just kind of have to revisit them later when the moon phase has changed. But I did find, so there, when you go to a save point, you have several options. You have the option to save your game. You have the option to go to a store, which has a weird, creepy guy on a tall chair. And then you have the option to go to the lay fonts or whatever. That's basically the fast travel locations. And then you have the option to go to the shadow realm, which I can't remember what it's called. And when you go in there, so this is a perfect tip for anybody, which I just found out the other day. When you go in there, she has an option in her layout called explanations. Go into explanations and read. One of the things is with your demon fusion, if you do demon fusion when the moon is full, your demons will have a chance to, when you create them, to be higher level than your Nabino. So that is a good reason to, if the moon is full and you're wanting to fuse demons, maybe wait till the moon is full, then head over to the shadow realm, because then you might have a possibility of fusing a demon and it being higher level than you. So she had a lot of things in there to explain about kind of the mechanics of, I don't know if all the mechanics revolve around just her or just in general. But that's a good tip to go in there and start reading through that stuff, because you learn a lot of things. The game, exactly like Patrick says, the game doesn't tell you on any of this. You got to go in there and do it yourself. When you meet her, she tells you what she does, but you got to go in there and go to the explanations, because it'll map out like every little aspect, even about the essences. We were talking about fusing, which is fusing monsters together, and we talked about stripping their powers and putting them on a different monster yourself, and that's called the essences. You can strip, you get monster essences, and you can basically strip their powers off, whatever you want, or you could take them all if you wanted, or a few. That's also a way to get your Nabino to have different powers. Right. Last night, I took my Nabino because I had some of the regular ones that I started out with, like the regular lightning, but it was like a +2, and the regular frost, and it was like a +2 or something like that. And I was like, I want to get some better stuff. So I went in there and I found like one guy that had a really cool electrical attack. So I changed that out for my +2 that does a bigger, it's like instead of a weak, which is the regular one, this one does a medium. Right. So, and now I'm stair-stepping my Nabino up to do more powerful attacks. So that's really what you got to do. And you can do multiple, right? You can go to one essence and say, I want to strip these two out, and then I want to strip these two out of this one, and then I want to strip this one out of that one, and put them all in my Nabino. And you can do so. The only problem with that is you lose that essence, but you can get the essences back. Well, I don't know if you can get them back, actually. I'm not 100% sure on that, because you can buy them from the guy from the dude at the store, but he only sells ones you don't have. So I'm not sure if.
I think the affinity with the demons is where you get them, because some of the demons will give you their same essence. Like you fight so long with the demon and get them. So I think you level them up a couple of times and they're like, here, have some essence. And they give you the essence.
Every time they've tried to give me essence, and again, I don't know if I've used it or not. They'll say, oh, you already have that. So I guess I haven't, tested out if I've used it, if I can get another one or not.
Yeah. It's a lot. There is a lot to this game. I mean, there is a lot. I mean, I probably, when I played on Saturday, I probably poured like 8 hours into it on Saturday alone. And I will probably say I spent half of that time in the menu going, what is this? And I'm like spending time. So I had to make sure that I recorded like an hour of gameplay footage of me fighting monsters, because I was like, I got to spend time in this menu, but I need to get this footage recorded, because nobody wants to watch in the podcast, in this episode, 20 minutes of me in a menu flipping through and reading crap. I'm like, I got to get an hour of some of this combat footage in, and then I'll go do that. So there was a lot. And it was honestly, it was only really difficult until I was able to build up a full team of 4 players. Because if you just go in there and don't try to get demons on your side, you're not going to make it very far. I don't care what level you are, because you'll only get to go at least twice. So your character gets attacked twice, and the demons come around and get to attack you 3 or 4 times, depending on how many demons are in their party. And if you happen to be weak to something they hit you with, guess what? They get to go again. So I think they call it the icon system. So every time you get a crit or you hit them with their weak ailment, you get your icon basically starts glowing and highlighting and lets you know, hey, you've got a free turn. And like Nick said, the party can go around. One full turn is basically your entire team's run, and you can lose icons. So you start out with like 4. If you have how many people in your party you start out with? So you have 4. And if all of you crit or all of you hit the enemies with the weaknesses, you get to go again. So it's all about learning how to rotate that. It's very technical fight. You can't just go in and be like, hit them with my highest damaging abilities and we'll make it through. Because if they block that, you automatically lose 2 icons. So you lose 2 turns. And if you miss, they also lose 2 turns. So it's a lot of tactical fighting. And then there's all kinds of stuff like collecting mimins. Those little guys, they give you like 5 glory, and glory is used to purchase the miracles. I believe that's what they're called. And which make you give you extra demon slots, so you can have more demons in the back burner in your party, or used to give yourself affinities and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things it can do. And then there's like demon statues to collect and abscesses to close. And there's a lot. This game has a lot. I mean, I literally spent a full day and a half in the first desert area alone, just reading stuff, killing different demons, and going through the compendium to see what demons I can merge with this one and what level I had to be. Because you technically, every demon has your level has to be a certain level before you can merge into that demon. And so you're going, okay, I need to be 14 before I can merge these two to make that demon. And I really want that demon. So I'm going to go around killing a bunch of demons before I can merge them together so I can get to that one. One of my biggest complaints about the game is the way that the fights are. You can gain it, and what I mean by this is every game is like this. That's a JRPG to some extent, but to gain initiative, you have to be the one to hit the enemy when he's not looking, or just hit him before he hits you or touches you. But when you think of a game that has tactics like this, you see a group of 3 mobs hanging around on the street corner. You're like, I'm gonna go kill those 3 mobs. You run up there and you hit one mob. That one guy in that party may have 1 guy, may have 2 guys, may have 3 guys, may have 4 with him. You kill them. You only killed 1 guy out of that group of 3, and you have to keep attacking them to, clear them out, if you will. They respawn over time. So, you can clear out an area and go and try to make your way back to go do something else, and they've all respawned on you. You can somewhat outrun them, but if they touch you, they initiate combat and they get to go first. And depending on their level, that can sometimes be pretty detrimental. That killed me a few times. I was like, I'm running through these low-level slimes. Screw that. I'm going back to finish up the side quest. Ran through a couple of low-level slimes and wasn't paying attention and got killed by one of them because I was just running to the back and just trying to make it to the side quest. Wasn't paying attention to my health because I had just talked to a demon. He took like a large amount of my health to join my party. And next thing I know, I'm getting in combat and I hadn't saved for like 10 minutes. That's what's detrimental. But I don't like the mob style in this. I don't like that you run into the mob and you attack one and it's 1 out of that group of 3, but it may be 1 or 4 enemies in there, or 6 or something like that. I think I'm fighting as much as 6 enemies in a grouping already together. That drove me a little bit nuts. I would just attack the party. I wish I could attack the party, clear it out of the way, and move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's a weird thing for sure. It was weird to get to see. When you mentioned that before, I was like, yeah, that's strange, because that's the first thing I thought too. I was like, oh, there's a whole mob of them. There's 3. I'm going to kill them, and then I killed that one, and the other ones were like still there. I'm like, So you kind of quickly learn how that works. But the nice thing about it though is if you find yourself in a group of mob of enemies and you kill one, the other ones do go into this kind of temporary stun where they're not aggressive. They just kind of stand there. You can still attack them and initiate battle, but it allows you to get out without them being aggroed. So that's nice. There was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember now. But anyway,
you were going to mention Shane's favorite part of the game.
Oh, what is Shane's favorite part? Shane, what's your favorite part?
The Naruto run.
Oh, yeah, it's the Naruto run.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed, man. I was really expecting, but it was also a nice touch too. I do not like the right trigger thing and the left click thing, the auto, whatever the hell they called it. I'm glad you told us about that because I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, I was getting mad at that because I was left clicking in the left stick, and I'm like, I don't want to auto run. I just want to run while I hold it down. But no, and then I think Nick told me that right trigger does the same thing, except for it's not a toggle. And I'm like, well, damn it, that thing killed me so many times.
And I don't remember at all that ever coming up in any pop-up or tutorial or anything.
It does at the very
I'd
beginning.
say probably at the very beginning where I just saw the left click.
That's how I knew, because at the beginning they pop a tutorial saying left click's auto, or left click stick is the auto run, and then right trigger is just run.
Yeah. Well, I screwed that up too. But yeah, there's just so much in this game. You definitely play this thing a hell of a lot more strategic than you do a lot of other JRPGs. So I wish I could give it a better review myself. So any of my complaints are going to be on me, but I would definitely say this would be worth a $30 buy for me. Maybe 60 if I I didn't try to rush. 2, I got the damn thing and got to play it right from the beginning when I should have. But I think I would like to check out the some of the other games on PlayStation, because I know they have them out there for it, not just Switch.
I mean,
Switch was still that kind of a game for Switch is really kind of odd.
It's just a long game.
Paid money.
It's a long game. I mean, that's probably where they're in it. I mean, I read estimates that it's 45 to 77 hours. So that's a lot of game time.
Well, that's not too bad. But the problem is half of it, I'm freaking fighting shit. I'm trying to understand things. I don't know. Like I said, a lot of this is on me, but it's just, there's a lot to it. It's not like a simple, old school Final Fantasy style thing where you got some set moves per character you can upgrade and level and get new, better characters and new, better attacks and mana and magic and all that. It's like everything has a little something else to it, and it's too much for my little brain, I think. That and, trying to force myself to fly through it as best I could. Because I definitely was trying really hard to get through that first freaking boss so I could at least say I did that. But I did not.
I think in the first sand area, before you get to the Hydra, that area there, which is a pretty big area, I was probably in that area myself, like at least 2 hours or more before I even fought the Hydra. Mainly because there is side quests in the game that will help level your characters up and everything. I was doing some grinding. There's a lot to explore. There's a lot of big open areas with a lot of hidden crap. So you really need to explore the area. And I was probably in there for a long time before I decided, okay, I'm going to go up here and see what's there. And then it was the Hydra boss. And that's what I've been doing in a lot of the different areas. I mean, a lot of the areas you go to are really big and they're expansive, and it'll take you time to get through them. And this, exactly, Shane, what Shane said, and I think Patrick as well. This is not a game that you want to, it's not a game you can rush through. You can't. You got to take your time and slow go through it. Think about the enemies that are in the area. What type of weaknesses have you been encountering? Have you been encountering a lot of ice weaknesses? Have you been encountering a lot of electrical? Well, then more than likely, most of the demons in the area are going to be, weak to that. So maybe change your party up to where you have most of that in there. If you don't, maybe you need to go fuse them or do some essences to get the right demons in your party, or maybe go grab some demons that are around the area. But yeah, it's just a slow pace. But for me, I really enjoy this game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I haven't finished it yet, but I've gotten pretty far. I feel like I'm on the third area, I guess. I don't know what, they don't really have stages, but I'm in the third big expansive area. And so, yeah, I really enjoy it. I think it's worth the $60. I really enjoy this game, and I will definitely continue playing it to completion because I'm really liking it. So it was definitely worth it for me. What about you, Pat? Any last words, I guess?
Nope, I agree. It's take your time with it, because you're going to miss stuff like I did with, just missing things. And read. The demon fusion thing is really cool. I mean, one of my favorite games that's in this genre is Persona, especially in the Persona series, Persona 5. And this is like Persona 5 on crack, because it's like you still have that turn-based combat and you're swapping out and building your party. But it would be like if you could fuse Joker and all these other people's powers into like one super, So I really like it, and it's really kind of cool. And it's kind of like Pokemon. Got to catch all the demons and fuse them together to make even better demons. I got to get the bigger, better demon. Got to fuse all these guys together. So it's really fun, and I'm enjoying it. So it's giving me reason to play my Switch. I haven't picked up my Switch in a while, so it's a really good, even though the graphics kind of annoy me, but I'm still liking it.
Awesome. Yeah, it's first time I've touched the Switch in forever today. It felt like, I think Monster Hunter World.
I think Monster Hunter Rise was the last one that we played on it, right?
Yeah,
as a group.
Rise, yeah. So, I definitely played the Switch. I can say that, I don't know.
That's good, Shane. That's good.
The game bugs me, and there's just so many things happening this week that just piss me off. And I think that's a big problem. Just my attitude for this week is done, or this last week.
Yeah, Shane had a bad week, so it didn't really help.
Yeah, and it ain't getting no better. I got a sick kid in there. I can hear going.
Well, on that note, we're going to go ahead and end this episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. Definitely check it out. It's a great game. And just so you all know, in case you don't have a Switch or you don't want to play it on Switch, there is rumor that it is going to come later on to PS4, I believe, and PC. They haven't announced anything yet, but those are just rumors, so take it with a grain of salt. But, you might wait out and see if that happens if you don't want to get it on the Switch or don't have one. But thanks, everybody, for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with all new videos that we do. And we'll see you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.
See ya.